Hi, good morning, and this is Preparation HQ, inform time. Time to go around and check all my emails and show everybody, get everybody caught up with all the relevant news that's circulating in the week today. I just want to say real quick, um, if Donald Trump gets elected, I'll make an offer to Saturday Night Live to let me do all of the Trump impersonations. You're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. It's by Trump. And I'll work on it and I'll improve it. But anyway, so I just want to go and cover the stuff and let's see if I can cover, what is that? I just want to see what this is. What it says. If I can cover this stuff without kind of being biased about it. I changed the name to this place to the Inform Media, the right winger. But I am going to try my best to go through this news this stuff that I'm doing here. Here, let me monetize this, even though I don't get nearly any views. But I think that if I keep making the videos, that one day I'll have one that'll go viral, and then I will make $1 for getting 1 million hits. YouTube, I don't know what their excuse is, but it's kind of a little bit frustrating, almost not worth it to be partners and agree to these terms with YouTube. Here, I'll look right at you while I'm saying this. But YouTube takes 50% of your profits. So if you have another way of having a sponsorship or, getting your message out to a different type of audience or direction that will make you money besides money that you make for making YouTube videos, YouTube is set to make half of what anybody makes. That's um, about as unrealistic as the government is right now. I was trying to be unbiased, so I'm trying to be unbiased with my opinion on the government right now. The government, you got a bunch of liberals. They talk their ways into becoming president or whatever position they have in government. And while they're making laws and trying to push other people around and say these people have constitutional rights, but these people don't, they're ripping us all off left and right at a staggering rate. It's the reason why inflation doesn't drop, why inflation goes to the moon and stars. Probably way worse, probably more realistic, like what Ben Carson was saying about our debt and the nation's economy. Realistically, I think it's closer to maybe in between what they say, the $18 trillion that we're in debt, to the almost $100 trillion in debt or more that Ben Carson had explained months ago. So at least he's doing his research on the economy and sounds authentically um, real, like he wants to. We know it's broken. Everybody knows America's broken. We know the shit's broken. So you tell me, RNC, Republican National Committee, or whatever you guys are, I've volunteered for you my whole life, and I've only voted for Republicans my whole life. My whole entire voting career as a U.S. voting citizen has only been down the line Republican. So I'm just kind of curious as why that 2012 debate went on like it did. It was a fiasco, and it basically helped get a criminal, as far as I'm concerned, in my honest opinion, evaluating this. The Democrats are all criminals, and they want to come in and push the law and push everybody's buttons and go against the grain or whatever you want to call it, Christian way of living. This is a Christian nation. So tell me how instead of going up and telling people how the Republicans are going to be able to fix this and to be able to realistically, this is what we have to do to go in here. Realistically, if you want good health care, a Republican has to be able to go in there, become president or whatever, body of Congress, whatever, to make it happen, to make the amends, to make it not criminal. So they took the element out of the, they made basically took the excitement or the energy out of the campaign for going and voting for a Republican. And I actually stopped midway into basically helping Mitt Romney's campaign here in Florida, halfway through, because I've started to realize that it was a losing battle. We weren't going to get enough people to not vote for this dipshit to have a second term. So all the things that President Obama is doing, he's doing as a Trojan horse type of person who came to interfere with our business and get even with America. So regardless of what happens to him, if a bomb drops on his head over him depleting our military and pulling our troops out of Iraq, whatever the consequences from that, Obama has proudly stood by his word and what he's gonna do, and he's gonna stick to his guns, and he'll defiantly take that bomb dropped on his head from some other place, some other country, and defiantly looks for protection for himself and his children while he has other people's children who are grown up adults now. But everybody has a parent and everybody has children, more or less, that are put into these circumstances. I'm looking at the parents. Like, Obama is not a president of mine. I don't respect him, and I do not look at him like that because the last presidents that I did respect and look up to, I felt like they considered my opinion and looked at my safety overall. They need to be like Ronald Reagan and kind of be the parent and figure out how you're going to have to keep the kids safe. So, Obama is an irresponsible person and is not capable of doing that. So, I've always been against people like that having children, raising children, because I hate to watch his children grow up and have any problems at all because of the directions and the falsehoods and the lies they were told by their parents, made them become corrupt, um, do dangerous things to their own self, and ultimately basically lose their salvation or lose their life, their soul, when they die. So it is strange, a strange phenomenon, how the stars and the world and God and everything exists and works, and it's upsetting how people raise their children to go ahead and be, whatever liberally they want to be at whatever liberal rate, on other people's dime and time. Liberals do not go to Washington to spend their own money. They go there to waste all of our money so they can be rich or they can have money or have, and then go and do abusive things with the government. So, again, I'm going to tell you Republicans one more time. I am so disappointed. I didn't even watch the debate the other day because I'm so disappointed from 2012, them not explaining how they're going to come in and fix this shit. Instead, they went out there and they told the world all of the bullshit that's wrong with each other, with each candidate, instead of coming out and saying, Look, this is why we oppose Obama's politics. Look, we're not racist. We don't hate black people at all. We care about all people. We want fairness and we want people to have justice and to be able to live uh, in a uh, good quality of life, not a fascist, governmental. And that's what everybody voted for Obama. When they vote for Obama or liberal or socialism, they're voting for the government to take over all your aspects as much as they can grip and take. Every time they get these guys in there, Clinton, Obama, Jimmy Carter, you name it, since JFK got his head blown off because he was the only one, the last Democrat to go against the grain of all this elitist type of baloney, and knew John F. Kennedy knew that that it was better to make all men prosperous and not just men coming from the government and being in a government position and make them prosperous because the government has to take over because socialism. That's not the case. So if anybody has a problem with the business or making money or anything at this time, I'm sorry. But really, there's no excuse for voting for a liberal or a Democrat. If that's what you did it just to punish yourself. You bought into the lies and the baloney of what this dipshit Obama was telling you. He was basically saying it's time for hope and a change to punish America for America being America, and basically wherever we went, we took out dictators. So you have this big, it's ironic kind of, I would guess. They bash America for taking Saddam out. Saddam, during his time of power, had murdered about 1 million people. So how much over 1 million, the million mark, does the world community, what is that piece of garbage called? NATO, and I can't remember the name of what Obama is up there, but not just the Muslims, but the UN. He's up the UN's butt. So tell me how the UN could ever in a million years ever let somebody get away with killing, murdering, you know, a, like 1,000 people and then make them stop somehow by showing a sign of, you know, military threat type of presence. Before you go and invade a country, you sit down with these people and you make them know how serious they're gonna get their ass hung from a raptor or however they drop the people in the, and they get hung like Saddam did. Before they go move from murdering how many 80 people, one person, mistreating one of their citizens like that, to the point where they can just murder people because they have a political difference against you. So now they brought it out to where it's all out. Basically, the Civil War was about the Democrats and the Republicans. It's the truth. So I just wanted to kind of put some thoughts into people's head here, and I'm gonna move on. So here is Preparation HQ. I'm kind of wondering what HQ stands for, but I'm gonna go with high quality, even though I got crap quality going here. Here's the Informed Media, the right winger. That's what I just changed the name to. And we're gonna go to here. So you think that angels don't fly and some of them don't lose their wings? I just wanted to show this. This is Western journalism. Got a couple interesting stories. Here's one. The EPA, with chemicals, basically destroyed this river. You know, that's all moving water. So I thought about this before in my head. I was trying to figure out, how do you pollute something so big like that, but it's moving water, but the pollutant is staying there. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. So why is that? Is it in the rocks? Because evidently, whenever the water flows down, the water is moving, the chemicals are moving, the what do you say, waste, toxic waste that this is moving down the river, but it stays. It doesn't go anywhere. Look at that. Is that not insane or what? I don't have time to read these articles to you, but I'll show you who they are. Here's Right Wing News, Western Journalism. They had a story on it, and these guys, Right Wing News, had a story on it. And we were just looking at Ferguson. There was a shooting there the other day. Somebody shot at the police. Now people are standing like in front guard in front of the police, standing there. I think that if you want all-out war here, and you want to sweat our police, and you want to sweat honest people and Christians or whoever else, I'm just gonna say people who aren't dirty, people who you can trust to not steal your money. If you take your money out of your pocket, you go in your house and you have roommates and you live there, and you set your money down, you'll come back to legally piggyback Canadian Social Security. See, that's what I'm talking about. Social Security is for people that need it. Welfare was there for people that need it, not for people who are abusive and want to abuse the system. And see, some people who think, oh, I made it, or I got the right draw of the lottery when I was born, like this lottery born thing. It's a myth. Everybody is born where they're supposed to be born. Okay, you don't have a lottery where, oh, I could have possibly have been born over here to this Richardson family. That's bullshit. That is not the truth. That is not a fact at all. Everybody faces consequences of their own livelihoods, has a direct effect from previous mothers and fathers and people from your family. They were born in their family and your family, or whoever they were born, and that's it. There's no second guessing being born or where you're supposed to be born or whatever. It's the way it is. And there's just some things on this earth, like heaven and hell, that people can try and sugarcoat that shit all they want. But there's just some things that people need to get out of their fairy tale land myth in their heads and realize that some things are just the way they are. That you cannot change them. So I have another video that I'm going to do later. I'm going to specifically look at people from a creationist type of perspective. And in my opinion, the more I look at human beings as a figure like an alien or something from some other place, like the ancient aliens put together, right? I think human beings, including myself, all of us, we are used to human interaction and interacting with each other. But when I step back and I look realistically, I think people are creepy, and I get the sense and realization of not exactly what God's intention was with people, but that He had a specific intention with people, and that's just some shit that you cannot change. It's the way it is. It's a fact of life. You know, like we got this guy for 8 years, President Obama. Confident about third term. Now, I told these guys that honestly, I think he's going to have to go somewhere else because I think that he knows that this country cannot stand another 4 years of Obama bullshit, killing our military off, paying the terrorists, ISIS, giving them trucks, cars, food, military equipment, you name it. The whole 9 yards. This guy has pulled no punches with the terrorists and only sucker punched what he lied about and said that this was his country and these were his people and fellow countrymen. He's a liar. And Democrats are all liars. They think America needs to be getting even with. And to prove my point, go look and see back when everybody else was protesting against Vietnam, Bill Clinton and Hillary and these people that are basically the ones that are the front runners for the Democrat Party, who the Democrats, they will, if Hillary doesn't get in shape and get in line to being the person of choice for the Democrat Party, there'll be somebody else in there, I believe that. I'm not sure about Trump just yet. The more if he keeps on spinning off his mouth in the wrong way, he'll lose it. But I'm talking about Hillary and Bill Clinton and this egghead Obama right here are anti-American people, protesting type of people. In their past, they have only have spoken of disdain and hate, and the you talk about trust or whatever. These people completely untrust America. Okay, and that's why this guy does the policies he does. He has done so many things that he's got one thing over here. He's like, oh, we're making homosexual marriage legal. It's a complete attack on a Christian way of life. This place is a Christian country. All of the rules and everything are based on being a Christian. So when this guy comes here, he's mocking religion, Christianity, and our laws by doing this stuff. Because our laws, any other way, without this liberal nonsense, would not ever approve in a million years of gay marriage. But we went to the extent of giving them, okay, the idea of having a formed union where they could have been acknowledged by law in a union. But I'll tell you something. You have a man and a wife, okay, that have been married for 50 years, 30 years, 20 years. The wife gets put in the hospital. There are still some circumstances, okay, where unless the husband or the wife put the other person on a visitor list or said that they are even willing to talk to their spouse or whatnot, they can actually be what do you say, sequestered? Sequestered. They could be basically stopped, and it's a form of harassment. If you have a family member that's in the hospital or somebody who's your relative, and they won't let you talk to them. I'm telling you, the way that gays needed to do it was not through to abuse Christianity and marriage in the way that is intended to be, because that's a joke. That is a complete joke and a flopping lie. Okay? They needed to honestly go through lawyers or somehow have some kind of a card through lawyer that says if you get injured or you're hurt and you can't talk, that your the other significant other can come and talk to you. Because even straight people, husband and wife, will still have the problem going to a hospital unless they have this card that I'm talking about. Is just a myth and a fictitious thing, because these guys are not serious about taking care of their business in America and people. They want to abuse their authority. They want to rip our money off and blow it and keep some of it for themselves, or a lot of it for themselves. Bill Clinton, Hillary, Obama, Jimmy Carter. How much is Jimmy Carter still making from his one term? But anyhow, so these guys just came in, and it was another big time crockin' lie, okay? Just so they could throw people off to something else. What is it? What is Obama up to? Is it the one world order, one world money system? Is it taking our guns away from us? What is it? The new change is not to be unarmed, okay? That is a bullshit ass bullshit lie. It is completely also a Democrat liberal myth made up, because guns don't kill people. People kill people with a knife, with a gun, with a bat, whatever they can get their hands on, if a person has got a problem with their mind, okay, and shouldn't be around guns. So that's makes kind of a headway, but this is what these Democrats want to do to people. They want to have somebody who committed a felony, or say, even if they murdered somebody, let's say it was even a murder, something as bad as a murder, right? They had done in 1992, right? We're in 2015 now, okay? So you have you have basically over 20 years, okay? The person probably did most of their time in jail for that, or let's give them a liberal place like where I'm from in Oregon. Guy grabs the rifle. I know this really happened. This guy grabs a rifle, goes down to the end of the street. One of his neighbors that he had a problem with blows the guy away. He's out within 7 to 10. That's premeditated murder, going up and shooting some, blowing them away. Okay, but if that person, now see, there's things that clearly, even me as a Christian or a Republican, that I'm not seeing in other people, because I cannot right at this time. I cannot forgive people, okay? And that is a Christian type of answer or thing or suggestion, is to forgive people. Whenever I believe Peter asked Jesus, you know, if I were to be asked by my neighbor or my brother if I will forgive them for something that they did to me, do I forgive them 7 times? And Christ said, no, you forgive them 7 times 77, or 777 is what it was. It basically, in my opinion, it goes infinite. So especially when people ask you for forgiveness, you're supposed to infinitely forgive them. But if you're not asked forgiveness, you're supposed to be able to learn how to be able to forgive them, not have to socialize with the person, but be able to forgive them and get away from the hate and the discontent towards other people. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to live your life. And that's what I get the gist of the forgiveness thing, Jesus Christ and Christianity. That's what I believe it's all about. But that I don't have to sit there and be lectured and, get my butt kicked, and sit there and take that. That's just another myth. Like how they tell people the pre-tribulation rapture. It says in Matthew 24, 29 and 30. Okay, I discovered this on the YouTube. This pastor was teaching. I honestly, I don't think that I would make that a hour sermon to teach people about Matthew 24. There's so much more that people need to hear about the truth than just spending a whole hour long, saying, hey, this is my own revelation. This is what I found out. This is a big deception, a big lie. Jesus said right here in Matthew 24, verse 29 and 30, put them together, and he says that he comes back at the end of the tribulation. So that's a big lie. Um, I'm just really sick of all this. So realistically, I thought this dude was gonna split from America. He's not gonna ask for a third term here, although he is pretty ignorant. I would say he's probably the most ignorant, unsophisticated government employee there ever was. He makes for the absolute worst president. He makes the most. You can count on him not just making the wrong decision. You can count on him critiquing it and coming up with the absolute most brilliant, idiotic answer for everything. You know, because he's a politician and he thinks he's a lawyer. So he's not going to be here for a third term, in my opinion. I think he's going to go try and run. If he can't, he might. If he can do that, if he can convince the Democrat Party, I guess, enough to have him run, that's of such an abuse on our constitutional rights and on us as voters. That is so abusive to have to stick us with 2 years of this liar who's a complete liar who only lies about every single thing. Okay, he tries to talk out of both sides of his mouth, but is only mainly stuck to the wrong side of his mouth whenever he speaks words. This is not a true president. He's un-American and he's not a president. I'm sorry. But if they want to keep this abusive thing up, remember the Civil War was about Democrats and Republicans. The people up north tried to make it say it was a slave type of thing, and they were the Republicans at the time. That was my party. But the Democrats were the Southern Democrats down here who they're all accusing of basically enslaving people whenever the Northern people had slaves too. I'll tell you what, make a long story short on the Civil War thing, there's good and bad people on both sides. That's why I respect the Confederate flag and the American flag. Not because of evil people who enslaved people or thought that was even right. I respect them because there is good people in everything. You're gonna find good people, even in, and I hate to say it, but even in something like Al Qaeda or the Taliban, you can find somebody in there that really would like to get away from all that and is only a subject due to the conditions or whatever, placed them in that. And they're not going to say a word. They live in fear. So, um, I really, I see this right here as an opening for Obama to go run for a presidency in another country, over in Kenya or somewhere else. And that's why he went over there and told these people over in Africa and these other places they need to abide by the law. You guys better straighten your butts up. You better straighten your act up because here comes Obama. He's fixing to try to become their president too. So either it's a one world order where he thinks that he's going to be everybody's dictator. There's two sides to everything also. Besides if you want to make it religious or not. There's only good and evil. Okay? Evil people can sit there and act good or like they're a saint all they want. But whenever it comes down to it, they stand on the wrong side of things. Good people, no matter what, won't waver from the knowledge that they have, okay, and they're given knowledge of what things are corrupt and are not right and are bad from being on the good side of things. They are in, we say it's like a seed or something that's planted in the ground, and the beautiful plant comes to life. It's not the plant of death. It's the plant of life, not the plant of knowledge, just the plant of life that gives you sustainability and a healthy overall condition, mentally, physically, spiritually healthy. So the other side stands for being disgusting, dishonorable, and unhealthy. And that's where this creep right here, that's where he stands. He stands on the wrong side of things. That's still my opinion. I think he wants to be everybody else's president. I don't really have much to say about this Ferguson thing, except that it's coming down to I wasn't ever really like a warmongering type of person. Um, I believe that when we sent our troops to Iraq, we were doing the right thing, and that the people still, even though this Obama thing came around or whatnot, the people that had died for that cause and our crusaders that have tragically lost their lives over there is, in my opinion, is not for naught. In my opinion, I think it's it means that they're honorable people. They're they're worthy to have not died and to have come back here and lived their lives fully. But we live in a terrible, disgusting world that offers them nothing when they come back almost practically and craps on them from the top all the way down in our own chain of politicians, okay, want to crap on the military. Not even win our war. You know, winning the war there, the difference between losing Iraq or losing Vietnam or any of these places is not that we lose, it's that the Iraqi people lose and the Vietnamese people lost. They lost to dictation. They lost to murderers. They lost to the world's biggest, most evil savages on the planet, and our American troops, from the safe haven that it is, had a lot to do with our own people here protesting and giving us shit. And then the biggest protest of all was to go and vote for this liar, Obama, who's a complete liar and a backstabber to all of us. Okay, who's going to tax us right into having nothing. Okay, to living on the street as a peasant. So I am highly, highly disappointed. And if you see me out on the street, remember my face. Remember my face. Here it is again. Here's my face. Whenever you see my face, remember I'm for people. Okay? And if the police have a job to do and they have to go and square other people away, I don't say take measures and manage it all in your own hands and take the law into your own hands to the authorities. I say to them, do your job like you're supposed to, and you have, out of all these other people that want to bash you, you realistically have people that will support you as long as you stay human. Okay? They want, like me, and sometimes I think human, I'm like, yikes, evil, watch out. You know, you can't trust it. But realistically, that is not human. That's cyborg or that's mutant stuff. That's not human. Human and human nature is to walk up on somebody that is injured or hurt and ask them, what can I do to help you? Or to take matters into your own hands and respond like an emergency service provider person, like an EMT or a firefighter or a cop even, right? But without pay. You're honestly all of a sudden a volunteer doing your civil duty to help another human being out. And that's what being human is all about. I don't know. You know, like I said, I just gave my opinion and what I thought every once in a while, and it's wrong of me to do that. To think human, people, I can't trust them. I had been I have been given the shaft so much that all I can say is I can't dwell on it, and that's really wrong for me to dwell on it too, because for what they did to me, human beings altogether, from whatever place in the world they come from, they have disappointed me so much that all I can say is it's if I dwell on it too much, it'll be a um, forced depression. Instead of me just coming up with this, oh, I'm so depressed and I can't even live and this and that on my own, now I'm given the suggestion on why to be depressed and why to sink my head and, you know, ah, and worry is because of people. And it shouldn't be that way. So, anyhow, we're going to continue here. Continue our news. So, all I can say with Ferguson, really, if you guys want it to be a staging area to start another civil war, keep it up, because um, we have true gangsters and villains on our side too, and I plan to see that they're all saved by Christ, become born again Christians, only do the dirty work, okay, against people that are trying to get them, to get us, like this Ferguson thing here, okay, and then I want to see people baptized religiously, the way that it was intended for people to come to Christ and be saved. And that's what I plan to do to the Hell's Angels. The Hell's Angels, I've always honored them and respected them, but the name has got to go, because you guys can't have devil ways about you. So does the Marine Corps. I was raised in the Marines. You see this? You know what my nickname is? See, USMC up on my wall. And there's some gunners up there in pictures also, wars that we've had. One's Okinawa and the other one's Afghanistan. And anyways, my nickname I gave myself, okay, and figuratively, Devil Dog is my name, is one of my nicknames that I gave myself, okay? And I don't practice with demons. I would not ever go to a magic book of magic and practice dark magic and intertwine with Satan at all, okay? But yet I I call myself Devil Dog, like the Marine. I'm a devil dog, okay? I I don't ask why. Whenever it comes down to this type of shit right here, I just do or die, and that's it. Simple. Um, but realistically, you're talking about having another civil war here. So um, it was Republicans and Democrats. Remember that. And right now, on the main stage of America, it's still the same. It's no different. It's Democrats and Republicans. For whatever reason, we couldn't get to one party who tells us every single thing, like, from what I understand and what the Bible and Revelations is saying, is that the Antichrist at the end comes in and he's able to perform miracles, and he speaks through his tongue the exact words that people are looking for and want to hear. He's got the answer for everything, because the devil set everything up. It's a great deception, and he plans on getting everybody with this great deception, you know, caught up in him coming back and acting like he's the son of God, and stuff like that. Just weird stuff. Very weird. So I believe that. I believe that there are mighty. The Bible doesn't say The Bible doesn't say that there are it's a minor deception. The Bible says it's a great deception. So we're gonna move on here. Like I said, I would like to take in all of these gangster people and convert them to Christianity and make them noble, honorable men that can be trusted. Even though there's some that I would trust, as it is right now, I would trust a lot of Hell's Angels. I really would. I respect them mainly because my father's a Vietnam veteran, and they were about the only people back in the 60s that came up and stood for America while everybody else was showboating their liberal butts and hiding the fact that the Clintons were protesting in anti-American demonstrations and movements, not anti-Vietnam. Okay. I just want to thank the Hells Angels for doing something that my own father thought was right too, and it's not a thought anymore. We know practically now that it made sense. France got us involved in Vietnam. They took and stripped Vietnam from all, as much of the rubber that they could from the place, and needed Vietnam for the rubber. So, and everybody, not everybody knows that. Most people, I would guess, would think, oh well, there's more to the story, but really, they try to make you think, oh, that evil American, oh, anti-American or anti-Vietnam, and it was baloney, because at that point, the we made the French leave too. The French backed out and just left. So if we would have accomplished our mission and finished Vietnam, they would they would have been a free democratic society. Exactly what these chumps like Obama are in now. They come to speak all this baloney because they have a right to, and they have the right to lie to your face. So it could have wound up ending up with some baloney politicians like we have now there. But there's a lot of places that we went and took real dictators out of countries and replaced them with democracy and politicians like that, and are thriving today. Thriving. While our economy is in a shit can, these other places that America helped out are thriving and doing well. So thank God for that. And America is one of the greatest Christian nations. It might be the greatest Christian nation in the world. Maybe that's why Obama attacks it so much, because I really think he is a pagan and he tries to act like he's a Muslim, and then he also caters to other people who think they are a Christian. But if you're a Christian, why are you taking the spoils from other people's hard labors? That's what, in my opinion, that's where we got to now. What liberal means today, it's much different than it was before. It was before it meant, stick up for these people's rights. But now it means something totally different and absurd. Liberal means for me to go and fight you with your own money. I'm going to take your money through the government and abuse the Constitution and abuse the law and my authority in government up in Washington. I'm going to strip you blind, take all your money, and then I'm going to use it against you. Like in court or wherever, however they do it. They're going to make us pay with our own money to be abused. And that's the real truth of what's going on here. So this right here is another civil war. You guys, I really truly believe that because of the way black people are acting like this, they're going to get whites and black people with black skin and people with white skin are going to be wiped off the planet, basically, not like destroyed or killed or anything. Their souls can still be saved and God still wants anybody and everybody. He doesn't matter what color you are. But in my personal opinion, because of the abuse from white people back in the day, and because of the abuses of black people today, that God is going to take. That's just my opinion. I truly believe God's going to take the darkness out of mankind and the lightness out of mankind, and we'll all be about Asian descenting looking color. We'll be yellow and brown people. No longer dark black skin and no longer white skin is going to be the consequence over things like being extreme racist. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion and what I think of, and that's what I think is going to happen for Patriots. I'm going through all of these different things, emails, reports, and things that I did, so I have no idea what they're talking about. DHS, Federal Emergency Management Agency, Acquisitions Program and Planning Division, Patriots Plaza. Now, see, I believe that this is what you get when you join the military. Okay, when you join the military, you're taught how to survive. You're taught how to make shelters. You're taught how to exist and live away from people on your own. So I don't know how many of these liberal consequences people, when you say living it up and having fun, the Bible talks about all of this. I call it the Great Babylon, is what I call it. And I don't know necessarily that it's not just consisted of everywhere where people want to be homosexual or have unwed sex, and just get drunk, drunk in your heart, drug it, do cocaine or whatever drugs people do, and they party and they think they're partying, okay? And I don't mean before, I mean right now. The more that the whole world gets in and it's one big party and they want to light the world on fire like this big bonfire, I think that it's damaging. There's consequences to all of that, and I consider it the Great Babylon, or what the Bible talks about, the future Babylons. So, anyhow, this guy Obama with the fly on his face, did he sell his soul to the devil to do this? Because obviously, you have to look deep inside a person to really get the understanding, the just of each person's turmoils and torments from within inside. And in my opinion, people who sell their soul, I believe it is really very real. However they did it, they made a deal with the devil. They can subconsciously do it. What I mean is not necessarily you don't have to have the devil come up and confront you and actually talk to the devil, which is would be a scary kind of encounter to have. Some person that comes up and is making a deal with you for your soul for whatever you want. People can make the deal with the devil, in my opinion, without the devil actually showing himself to you. And he can do this deal through his demons. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you don't have to sell your soul to the devil straight directly to the devil. He can send a representative, like a bank can send a representative, and you owe the bank money, not the representative. So I don't believe that the spirit has to be there. All the demon has to do is put the thought into your head, and then you conversate with this thought. Like how they say, don't talk to yourself, because that's creepy and really kind of uneasy. it makes people uncomfortable if you start talking to yourself. Yeah, man, Jim. What do you know, Jim? Who's Jim? Jim is my other some conscious part of my mind from way back here in my mind. You know what I mean? It's eerie to see people, and not just talk back to themselves and answer themselves, but talk to themselves. Period. I mean, if they briefly do it and say like, oh, like they catch themselves doing something at work or something like that, we're all guilty kind of that. But to actually have a conversation in your mind and be like, yeah, let's do this deal, you know, that those people are are creepy, and I believe this guy did, and I believe that's part of the reason why he won't smack the fly away from his face, because he is tormented by the devil. Once you sell your soul and you do that deal in your head with Satan, you become his, and he makes you act, react, and do all this stupid stuff for him. Like, look at Madonna. Madonna has definitely done something to give up her soul for what she has. And she is not the brightest bulb in the box. Okay? When you're pulling light bulbs out, when you're talking, whenever you hear people, celebrities talk about politics and what their opinions are and whatever, this and that, a tortured person who realizes and understands the fatal consequence of their action of making such a harsh decision and move for money. All of us in our life have to do whatever we have to do for for our own sake, to take care of our own family. But another biblical thing that the Bible says is the Bible doesn't say money is the root of all evil, and I got this wrong for a long time, and that's what I thought it meant. But the Bible actually says that the lust or the love of money is actually the root of all evil. And I used to listen to NWA, Easy E. I still listen to some of them, some of it. Um, and um, you had uh, you had their Bone Thugs and Harmony had "For the Love of Money." Remember that song? For the love of money. Well, then they became Christian after. Well, they started rapping Christian suggestions for on the contrary after Easy E died. So um, I'm looking out, trying to look out for everybody's soul, and we know that there's a heaven and a hell and a devil and whatever. But it's the love for money, not the idea, notion that we need money. We have to have money in order to survive. We can't get by without it. You can't buy groceries without it. But if you were in the military, you did an extensive amount of time in there, you should be able to go out into the woods and find various things where you can eat and survive on. And a lot of those things are going to be more nutritious and make your body feel a lot better and more well than a lot of the foods that we're eating now just get people by through their life until they die. So I'm looking at healthy carbs and unhealthy carbs. There's very real truth to that. You take something like a avocado, it's got a lot of calories in it. It's got a lot of fat in it. But the thing is grown naturally, okay, and as organic as you can get an avocado or an egg or any stuff. It's going to help your cholesterol whenever you take in this cholesterol. So, and it's not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not the bad kind of calories. So, um, there's a lot going on with people and with their lives and things today. Um, I was kind of making a joke a little bit here with this preparation HQ in farm time, because they are basically they're bombarding us almost to where it's like an enema. The Obama healthcare scam was a complete enema on everybody. It screwed people over to where now people who have paid their premiums and their health care should not have had their rates go through the roof. Now have gone through the roof because now they're paying the government and at least one other person's health care. While the government has them convinced, these other people that couldn't afford healthcare before are now able to get affordable healthcare now, when the true way to getting everybody affordable healthcare and insurance was to be honest with them and tell them how, everybody needs to go and talk to, like you would go do your own investigating if you were to buy a car or if you were to buy even groceries. Some people do that where they know where to shop for certain items, so they'll go here for that, they'll go over here for that, you know, but not to the same exact place that now is the government, now it's a law, so now these people force you one way or another, and I refuse to abide by any of these laws, by any of their laws, because I believe that they are weak. I believe that they're so far fetched, and people like Obama are so full of shit that I will not ever believe that I will ever have to, in a million years, ever have to abide by any of their rules, pay any of their fines, or take any of their abuses like that. Like this. I'm not going to, not without a real fight and not without winning eventually, because I will defeat you. I will win. I guarantee you. You be dishonest, you lie and you're corrupt, a lie is going to basically produce the evidence and everything, all that we need to show that these people are wrong, and a lot of people are still hanging on to Obama because why? Because people won't admit that they were completely wrong and that they fell for the biggest lie in the world. Is in uproar. Please eliminate the effect of herpes. I'll tell you something right now. I don't go to bars. I'll look at you right here. Okay, I don't go to bars. I don't go around and selfishly go to places and give up myself sexually to anybody. I'm not gonna say like I'm the most innocent, most pure person that ever lived or anything, or walk on the moon. I'll do the moonwalk backwards because I'm so free from disease and all this other stuff. But I'll tell you what, I do not go around fooling with people, with girls or whatever, okay, in the world, to the point that if I had got herpes, actual herpes, I would be insanely pissed. I would be so pissed that I don't know what I'd be capable of doing. I would lose it. I would lose the one part of your mind that holds you back. If I got a disease and I didn't go out and bring the disease on to myself, okay, or have any reason for it, I would lose that one part of a person's mind that keeps them rational and held back. You would have a situation where it might be in the news over it. If I got AIDS or some kind of herpes or anything, I would think it would be so bullshit of people in life in the world, and that's another reason why when I think of humans, I'm like, well, there's good and bad. Obviously, you have to consider human nature as also being rewarding and helping others. But I also think of the monsters who would actually they would get AIDS from their own selfish lust and going and screwing around and getting AIDS themselves, and then think, oh, well, I'm going to go spread my AIDS now that I have to all these other people or inflict somebody, infect them some way or another through transfusion or whatever. All I can say is I would be violently pissed. I would be so struck with madness and just I'd lose it. I would lose it beyond belief. There's no way you'd be able to stop me or be able to control my actions and what I was about to do. There's no way. So we're looking at my emails. I'm getting ready to erase all this crap. I read this every once in a while, but honestly, I think that the Tea Party is like a third party talk type of like thing. They're a third party type of thing. And they're there to keep things distracted and split up, and obviously us all divided, so we get another liberal or Democrat in there. All these guys think it too well. They had all these socialists and all these other people with different ideas run against Obama in 2012, and they were completely ineffective. The Republican stood a chance, Romney stood a chance, but whenever it came down to it, for whatever reason, they reelected the biggest liar that ever lived, that ever walked on the earth. That's who that's who people in this country elected instead of the other guy who basically, if Romney lied to you, he would apologize. He would not only come out and take back the lie and say, look, I screwed up. He would apologize and he would tell us, I'm sorry. I did not mean to lie to you. So, exact date, Bible says America will collapse. We're looking at all these things like this, but what I'm telling people, I'm not nervous and I'm not upset if it's going to happen. Get nervous the second or the moment you're going to die and you see it coming, or don't. Or just be relaxed and totally chill by the time, but be prepared and make sure your soul is good with God, and basically don't attack other people whenever they're trying to um, save their soul from an impending disaster, because they don't want to be caught up with the world and they don't want to make God unhappy. So I'm telling people right now, with this, these prophecies and these other things like that, you know what else the Bible says? The Bible says, don't fret, and don't be worried, don't be nervous. The Bible is basically, speaking of weird, okay, that is really weird. The Bible says, all right, I'm gonna tell you, describe all this crazy, freakish stuff that is going to trip your mind out, but don't get scared. Don't be scared of it. I'm prepared and I'm already prepped to the point where I am not scared. I look at military and other military people that have been in the military first, because we together can build a place to survive out in limbo. If the country's going to be destroyed, listen, I'm telling you, if this country is going to be destroyed because of the policies of Obama and liberalism and other selfish things, okay, ripping off basically people that slave away and work their butts off, okay, are mistreated and abused to where they have to go take up a second or third job now in order to keep up with the demand and the labors that they're required to do now, to now take care of the government and everybody else, because that's what they're doing. They're having the government, people like Obama and these liberals are making us pay for them and their like children. They really need to be watched and they need to be told what to do. Obama is a weak individual. He's a weak president. He's got all the wrong answers, and he's not a person that should be in a role or position of authority. He's a person that is in a position that needs to go to jail or somehow be put in his place like a parent that his parents wouldn't do or weren't able to do or whatever, however that worked out for Obama. But he was the one child that grew up without a spanking, without being spanked ever, and without ever, because he gets to question everything, and not, nothing's right to him, so he's completely blown it, and he's off track, and the guy will not ever be on track and will ever make sense, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, we have the most absurd politician in the White House. But I'm telling people, when they say this stuff, exact date, Bible says America will collapse. I'm saying, is there anything you can do about it? All these people went out and voted for Obama, voted for this nonsense, voted to kill and strip our military away and to help our terrorist enemies that are lining people up, cutting their heads off and burning them up, burning them alive. I would love to be burned alive, wouldn't you? It would really be kind of I don't know. It would be kind of, I'm being honest, and I know that sounds morbid, but I think that being burnt alive would be an exhilarating thing, and it would actually feel pretty good, in my opinion. That's just what I think of it. I looked at it a lot like, yikes, scary. That's traumatic, but I think it would be very sensational, and it would probably feel good. So, anyways, when they say this stuff, exact date, America will collapse, or they say the tribulation is happening, or when they give you all this other added baloney to your life, okay, to either frustrate us or to make us scared or whatever. I'm just telling people, take everything with a grain of salt. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Believe what you want to believe, but ultimately don't let politicians, the government, anything scare you. Don't let the devil scare you. Don't be scared and don't be tricked, okay? This is stuff to help you be prepared and to be ready and to be confident and to be like this. I'm ready to go. Like the Marines ready to go march in, you know? Go take care of business. But have everything and no politicians holding you back, have no government holding you back. But don't be scared. Just be ready. That's all I'm telling people right now. Just be prepared for it and don't let it scare you. It's just a tactic that they have, and they know that it's effective. And some of these tactics and things they pollute us with, propaganda, comes very natural to people and politicians when they've been there long enough, screwing around and doing the wrong things and trying to act like Obama's trying to act like he knows what he's doing. He really, what he did was he fine-tuned himself as a politician and somebody who feeds you with bullshit. So he might think he's really good at it, but that's all I see. Is I see him actually had been just preparing himself and boasting himself up to being more of a liar and to be able to promote propaganda for his own self and his own um, policies or whatever they have. Um, it's just to help Obama out himself. He's helping himself out. So I just wanted to bring this story here to light. I didn't see a video in here, and I didn't get to read the story yet. But it says dad and son are seconds from assassination by ISIS, and then what does it say? Quiet, click. half a mile away happens. So I just wanted to put that out there. I didn't read the story yet. I'm going to. Each one of these things I left on here since yesterday so that I could share this and show what's going on, you know. If this ain't another sign of the times and another sign that Obama and the politicians out there, the liberal ones, even if they're Republican and they're acting liberal, they're leaning a little bit too much Arlen Specter type. This is the bullshit that we're stuck with. So these idiot hippies or whatever the hell they think from my state, Oregon. I like to go back to Oregon. Someday I'll go back there. Okay? And I'm going to punch one of you out. I'm going to punch you out so fast that you won't be able to blink. You blink and I'll be gone. Your face will be devastatingly beat to a bloody pulp. You will have your face beat severely that quick, and I'll be gone so quick that if you're able to open your eyes up at the moment, and anybody else standing around there can blink, and I'll be gone. I promise you. For this bullshit right here. Oh, Obama. Oh yeah, the planes, the airplanes, they weren't really airplanes that flew into the World Trade Towers. They were missiles from the Pentagon. Can you believe that? I seen 2 airplanes fly into the World Trade Towers. So they're with this bullshit that they're saying that it was some kind of conspiracy and Bush did some bullshit like that to the World Trade Towers and that's how we got into Iraq or whatever. That is such a bullshit ass lie that they're sitting there telling all these people about these lies about 9/11 and what really happened, and that it wasn't really terrorists that wanted to get even with America at the time. Okay? And that they looked at the World Trade Towers in particular as being a slap in their face because they didn't want to be part of the World Trade Towers. So World Trade Towers are built and established to suck up and bring everybody into it, whether you like it or not. I don't hate it. Okay, I had nothing against it, but obviously the terrorists did. I seen on a video. Every time you go and look at the what created the damage, obviously it was an aircraft that went right in there. And I heard somebody say something about the guy who basically he's a Baptist preacher. I don't know what his name is, but he was the one that brought to my attention that Jesus said in Matthew 24, verse 29 and 30 that he's coming back at the end of the tribulation, and that's the blessed hope of the church is what it's called. He pointed that out to me, but then goes on to saying that the Holocaust and all of the Jews, 6 million Jews or 7 million Jews being killed, was a lie. Then he went on to say that. That's why I was like saying, man, these people these days will say something profound, so like relevant and revealing, and then all of a sudden then they're like my stomach and heart and everything sinks whenever he comes out and tells this other lie, and he's sitting there wasting his time on some bullshit like that, like 9/11's a conspiracy, the Holocaust is a conspiracy. It never happened. If it never happened, let me show you something. This right here, this is a picture of my family. Okay? This is my grandfather, Bronish. Okay? He was my mom's stepdad, and he treated my mom and her sisters that were not his own children. He treated them like his own children. He didn't cut them any slack, but he also loved them and tendered to them and took care of them like his very own child, his own children. He treated them no different. This is his sister. his mom and dad. He came during World War II. It was such a mess. He knew he had to get out of there. My step grandfather, who I consider my grandfather, my real grandfather, I haven't ever called him step grandfather. I've always called him my real father. He's from Germany. He was born in Germany, a German. He fled through Austria to come to America, where he lived until he died at age 83 during World War II. He had to get out of there because it was so nasty. Now you're going to sit there and tell me that the Holocaust never happened and that it's bullshit? I hang this up on my wall, okay, because I love him. He was a good man. He took care of me too at different times, where he sat down and he was patient and he was understanding and he was nothing but love when other people treated me like shit. I'm an autistic person, okay? And I've been abused, I've been pushed around and mistreated my whole entire life, off and on, to the point now I'm immune to it. I'm really immune to it, to the point where I'll just, like I said, I'll just clip you good if you sit there and talk smack to me. If you want your ass kicked, a good way to do it is by coming up and telling me some shit and thinking I won't defend myself or stick up for myself. Try putting your hands on me. Yeah, I give any person, any man, the right, that right, to try to come up and put their hands on me. It's against the law for you to do that, and it's legal for me to whoop your ass. I hope I don't kill you. I really don't. I really hope I do not kill somebody, because I've been attacked twice since I've been here in Florida. One was by a neighbor. I had just been in a conversation with this guy and talked to this person, like just sitting there baloney with my hand on the fence, who's on the other side of the fence, and we're just BSing. He said some weird stuff to me. He said some weird stuff to me that made me kind of like, ooh. Like, oh, I don't want to talk to him anymore. So I made a decision I didn't want to talk to the guy no more. But he brought his dog and his neighbor's dog without a leash. His dog was on a leash, but his neighbor's dog wasn't. He brought his dog through my yard every chance he got, and he would stop right in front of my flower bed, my little garden that I made, where this little girl, Somer Thompson, that was killed here. She liked purple, was her favorite color. So I wanted to build her a purple flower bed. It made absolutely didn't mean anything to me if he would have been 4 feet or 2 feet even on the other side of it, but just not crap in that little girl's memorial honored bed that I'm just trying to myself not tell anybody about it necessarily, but I wanted to honor this little girl, okay. Think it was such a tragedy to what happened that she didn't get to live her life, okay, and not to be screwed with by some adult or by some other person. I think it's so tragic what happened there. But then I get in trouble because I was just defending my own land, and I just wrote a note and told the guy, would you please, I even said please, would you not walk your dog through my flower beds? And the cops took that note into evidence because when I put it in the guy's mailbox, he came back, he put it back in my mailbox, the same note, with a return note on the other side of it. The flip side, it said, I only have one dog and I walk him on a leash, asshole. That's what it said on the note from my neighbor. So I went over there to tell the other neighbor, and is it ironic that the courts would want to sequester that sequester thing again, not get the whole story out. Now, I was not there to try and intimidate this guy. I walked over there. I stopped at his house by his front driveway because I'm looking over here, and I didn't see the man come up and step up to me and come over me. He came over me like that, and that's how I ended up hitting him. And I hit him once. I should have sat there and I should have beat his head in. I should have smashed his head into the street, but I didn't because I wasn't there to assault him or anybody else. I was going to tell his neighbor, and this is the part that the court wouldn't have said. They would have just said, "Oh, you hit a older guy or something like that," right? I was going to tell his neighbor that I'm going to call animal control if this guy walks your dog through my yard again, and there's nothing I can do about it because the guy has already made his choice to F with me, to screw with me. So, saying that the Holocaust never happened to me, I'm going to call you out on that crap right there, and that is complete bull crap. Complete bull crap. I have really nothing else to say. What else is going on in the news? You got people trying to become president over some. I don't even know why they want to be president no more. Because really, the damage that these Democrats have done, either you switch over to a one world order, and people who say like, "Oh, I don't believe that's going to happen" or whatever. My friend just said that to me yesterday. Well, I was going to tell him how it is going to happen. They bankrupt all of these countries, so when they finally put it in for the Antichrist or whoever he is, I believe the Antichrist is going to be a test tube personality type of person. He's going to have to come in a clone, in a form of a clone, or body, a human-like body, that he's going to have to be able to possess that didn't originally have its own soul, because he's going to be born a lot like Christ was born, without a father or whatever being having the conception made or whatnot. But I don't really know what else to say except these guys have really trampled on our economy to the point where it only makes sense, if you think about it, a one world order. How they destroy and bankrupt all these countries, Greece, America, all these other places. They have to full on just destroy their economy in order to link us all into this one world government. And it's going to be one world religion, obviously, too. The same thing. It's going to be government and religion. So instead of them being like the communists in North Korea, where they take your thoughts away from you completely. You all right? My dog was, they dig and stuff, and they do get this weird nasal thing, and they sit there and snort up. For some reason, they got some dirt or something, and then that's what she did. But anyway, so the one world order, one world religion type of system, so it will be religious, and it also gives credence to what people are thinking. Like, they don't know what the Bible says, and they don't know, like, they don't have a person like me beating you down with the basics of what the Bible is saying, because I'll give you roundabout basics of what the Bible is saying and not make you have to go and read the whole Bible to get the answer from me. I know the Bible well enough from what I was taught and what I know and learned that I can do that, give people a straight answer. So it's not like in North Korea where they sequestered your ability to freely think on your own, and you have to think like the government wants you to think, literally. And those people are trained to, like, they better do it or they know they're going to jail. They got deep sweat being sweated on their minds. So they took the religion aspect. Now they're going to replace, the devil is going to, in my opinion, is going to change that at the very end, and he's going to give them all a religion, and then he's going to explain how he came, or all these different pyramids and structures and other things happen in the universe, and he's going to give his detailed story on how things work and whatever, this and that, and he's going to make people believers then. And it'll be hard to believe that there'll be any real atheists at that point, because he's got them already dwelling on a negative thought about God in particular. So when the revelation comes and everybody realizes that, oh, the science community is basically wrong if they said that there is no God and there's no creator. So by the time that comes, it'll be such a great deception, in my opinion, with everything else that's going on. But that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have him try and sum it up and make everybody a believer, but a believer in him, and it's wrong. Hello? Hi. Yeah, he just left about 7 o'clock. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. All right. Okay. We've got a bunch of stuff we've got to do here, but I'll let him know. We have to. We're working on a cord of wood. We have to clean the house up the best that we can, and then also he's trying to fix the tractor right now. Our grass is off, huge. Okay. All right. Hang in there and call back. Call back whenever you feel like it. All right. I will. Yeah, love you too. Bye. So I have nothing else to say. I have to go make my other video. I have a religious type of video to do, and I really like to try my best to try and refrain from swearing and cursing on it. So I kind of have to get myself kind of in the mentality to be able to be straightforward with people. But usually when I get irked and I get upset, because of the places I've been, the life I've lived, I get borderline violent, and I get very much on a level of um, where I don't watch my tongue. I don't. I'll start to swear and I'll curse you out. And if I knew where you were, I would come and I'd find you and I'd punch you out. I would, seriously. I'd be in and out of jail all the time because of people. So anyhow, I gotta go do that other video and prep myself up and get ready for it. So I hope you enjoyed this Preparation HQ Inform Time. I gotta go edit this video too. So y'all have a good day, and remember, take everything with a grain of salt and don't let people spook you out. Okay? Life ain't about being scared and worrying and all this other bullshit. There's nothing we can do about it except be diligent and stay on track and on course with what we're doing, and being upfront and making people realize that we just want honesty, we want the truth, and we want people to not be mistreated. So it is a myth when people say that Republican people, because they're not talking about the politicians. I got to remember when I'm talking about Democrats, I'm really being politicians a lot of the times. That if people say Republicans are evil, they make up the majority of a lot of people in this country, and I do not believe that at all. I believe that they want to see opportunity for other people, and they're not selfish, and they're not going to what you say, step on people's feet like these politicians do. These politicians have been trained, okay, to basically go to government and get even with all of us and everything else. And people in particular that aren't on board with the ruining and destruction of America. If you're with the ruining and destruction of America, here's $5,000. That's what the government is telling people. Here's $5,000. You can have $5,000 now if you just say you deny Christ. If you instead of that you say I deny America. If you deny America, here's your $5,000 at a rapid pace. That is all that they're doing. They're abusing people who pay them taxes, and it's the only reason why politicians get money in the first place. And then you see what they do, what Obama does with that money. He could have done a lot of things without having to tax people more, with taxing people a lot less. All right. And not doing the damage that he did to America. He didn't have to do all that. He could have had the same people on his side, and basically with him 100%, don't you think? Or do you think if Obama, for some whatever reason, he acted like JFK, and I mean early on, because it's already way too late. He can't take the last year that he's got left and all of a sudden, I'm JFK, and I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to give you all gun rights. I'm going to protect your constitutional rights, all the amendments. I'm going to stick up for freedom of speech, and I'm going to do you guys all a huge favor with my last year in office. He needed to be like John F. Kennedy his very first year that he was in there, in order, in my opinion, to have been. See, John F. Kennedy might not have been very noble on the side as a person. I don't know that. When people say, oh, he had an affair with Marilyn Monroe, or they did this and that, I don't know that. And if they did, that's not my opinion, or it's not my business. All I know is that what they do personally and their families is off limits. It really should be. People shouldn't be considering to go and attack his children or his wife or his personal lifestyle, whatever that is. But we should definitely critique him in his job, the job that he wanted as president, but is totally, completely unqualified and incapable of manning and doing. So, if he was to be like John F. Kennedy, his first year, that Obama, because like I said, it's too late for him to change now. My question to people would be, would they have blown his head off? What would have happened? He wouldn't have been able to make the second term. The media would have turned against him. For whatever reason, we got most of the media, except Fox. Fox will still only put on TV what they want to put on TV, and they're still holding back a lot of baloney that's going on that people realistically need to hear. But the showboating that's going on with the MSNBC and these other liberal places, CNN or whatnot, if Obama would have started doing the right things for people in jobs, got people off of welfare, made it so people didn't have to go and get food stamps and all of that, would the media had started attacking him? You say, like, he goes and sits down with The View. The View sits down there, and they have a wonderful, awesome conversation and love with Obama, you know? But if Romney or anybody else goes on there, now all of a sudden they're attacking him, and they want to know, oh, yeah, you scary Republican now, if you became president, you know, how can I trust that you wouldn't take abortions away? What do you mean? Not only Have you guys been given and granted the right to kill your baby, obviously, after it's born, you liberal pieces of garbage? But you guys are so abusive and intrusive with the law and abuse of power and authority and money that now you're making taxpayers buy your condoms, pay for your abortions, do all this other stuff, And I seen somebody get abortion before, and they had to ask their mother for the money, and I was so disappointed with that person. I had to take them because it fell down on them. I didn't get the person pregnant. It had nothing to do like that. Okay, I was completely innocent of anything like that. I was just there for a moral support. Okay, and I begged and pleaded with this person not to kill the child, but that I haven't ever had a child of my own, and I would really appreciate it and I would love it if you were to give me the responsibility of taking care of that child. Of course, I'm going to give it conservative notions. I'm going to raise it as a Republican. I'm going to raise that child to grow up, go to college, or whatever that child wanted to do. And it was a girl, by the way, I believe. So I would have had a girl. Um, she didn't give me that opportunity. She took it away, and she took the life of the other person, of this child, away. So I have a personal reflection of abortion now, because they, as wicked as they are and as tied into everybody and everything as the world really is, the small world that it really is, because of that, I hate abortion, and I hate abortion clinics, and I hate the idea of people being able to just go out and kill a baby just because they don't want to take care of it or don't think that they can handle it. And also screwed over a person sitting there begging and pleading. I only have, I'm not rich, but I know for a fact that if I had a child, that my child, through my parents and whatever other means that I have, would sustain life, and it would have a healthy life, and it would grow up true and wise, and as best as I could put a moral, ethical compass on that human being. I would only work diligently in my butt off to ensure that person grows up to be a trustable person. And whenever they are affected with all these other things because of whatever else, because I was maybe an untrustable person before, and now I became to grips with life and everything, okay, now it burns me and it frustrates me to see people being cheated, lied to, or manipulated, and then ripped off also legally through illegal means. Okay, that if the child that I ever raised were to be raised up, and I could not take, like I said, was a family tradition of ours that I could pull. If I had $1,000 in my pocket, I could set it down in my house, and everybody in my intermediate household might stop and count it, but they will put it back, but they know that the rule is to leave the money alone, not to even touch it in the first place. So, seeing the money, but leaving the money alone. You might even go up and ask somebody, hey, there's a lot of money right there. Usually I would think maybe $100 would be somewhat normal, but it looks like there's $1,000 sitting right there. Dude is left alone. So I was taught basically to be such a responsible person to where anybody, and they didn't have to be in my family or whatnot, they left some money, that I would leave it alone. I picked up money before that somebody had left, like on a Coke machine one time. I don't even know how I even seen it. I was on the sidewalk walking, and the Coke machine was over at the business. Um, I'm saying yards distance between me and the Coke machine, but yet I seen the money on there, so I went over and it was late at night, and if I look at that as free and clear, because if you don't grab it, somebody else is going to grab it, okay? And not necessarily the person who left it there is going to find it, but if there's a wallet with a name in it, I'm leaving all the money in there, and I'm also quite possibly, except for the fact that if he doesn't come and ask for the money back, then you get the money, right? Besides there being somebody's identification in the wallet. If somebody's identification, I'm saying if there wasn't, I found a briefcase full of money, I would probably more than likely turn it into the police, let them do their jobs, okay, and figure out whose money it is or whatever, and if I get a reward, I get a reward or not. But to do a lot of these things like that anonymously, because I'm not doing it to try to necessarily, maybe if God wants to honor me and bless me in ways, that's one thing. But truly, I think that that's basically what mankind's nature was supposed to be, was to help other people. And if somebody falls down, you're not supposed to go over there and kick them. You're supposed to go over there and be like, "Oh, let me help you," you know, and basically pick don't yank that person up. Help support that person. Give that person an edge and the ability to rise back up by themselves with a little bit of help back on their feet. That's all I'm saying. Other people would see somebody suffering or somebody hurt and they'd walk away or they wouldn't know what to do. The only thing to do, the only rational thing that makes any sense at all is to go take care of that person and tend to their needs. Not to defy laws of nature, not to go abuse authority and the law and to rip people off. But anyhow, that was it. I'm gonna go now because I have to go prep for this other video I'm doing on my other channel that I have. But there it is, Preparation HQ Inform Time. Peace.